this is Ian McKellen, also known as Gandalf the Grey, also known as Gandalf the White.
And I have great confidence that Peter Jackson will pull that up because he's a very good storyteller. So to go off and do a film for a year, 3 films, didn't seem to me to be that enormous, but it would be going to a part of the world I didn't know, and I thought that would be exciting rather than unnerving. But once I met Peter Jackson and his wife Fran Walsh, who very closely related to the film as a co-screenplay writer, and realised how friendly they were, how compared with most film people, ordinary they were, how devoted to the project they were. I just felt it would be fun to be part of their team for some time, and it would be unlike most jobs that I've had. Once I'd read their script and seen the range that Gandalf has, it just seemed it would be the first for me to decide to go off and do another job, which I didn't have anyway. So, what could identify most with Gandalf? Well, his love of the countryside, I think, and the fact that he's a smoker.
Well, I think perhaps it's his first line almost, when he goes up to Bag End and gets out of his cart and clambers up the steps and knocks on the little door, round door, which is answered by a diminutive Ian Holm as Bilbo. But before that moment, Bilbo has shouted that whoever's knocking at the door should go away and that they're not welcome. And Gandalf replies, not even very old friends. And old friends, I think, is perhaps the basis of why I like the story so much. It's about friendship, and it's about companionship, and it's about doing things together. And that's how the world becomes a better place.
And I'm always playing old men, you know. Gandalf, he's 7,000 years old. I was offered God the other day, and they don't want me. Well, that was one of the appealing things about it, that Gandalf is actually 2 characters, 2 parts, looking a little bit different. Tolkien makes it clear that the resurrected Gandalf looks younger than Gandalf the Grey. He's got more purpose, he's going to complete the job, and then that will be the end of Gandalf. He's suddenly all white instead of grey in costume and hair. But it's the same man, but you're just concentrating on different aspects of him. He's more determined, he's less humorous, and frankly, less good company, I think, than Gandalf the Grey. The odd thing is about the books, and it's interesting to see what you feel. When we come to the 2 Towers and the last film, it may be a surprise to see Gandalf looking not like the traditional Gandalf the Grey, whereas less experienced actors like myself are desperately trying to make it the same each time. It was a lifelong ambition to work closely, or to see work closely, Ian Holm, one of the great British actors on film and stage. I think that was the month I relished most, when the 2 Sir Ians were together and laughing a great deal. He is an amazing actor, absolutely astonishing. Every take he does is different, deliberately so. He said, I'm going to give the director everything I know about the character, and then the director can select from what I've given and create a performance. It's a very modest way of proceeding, but of course only a really talented actor can do that, because he has such imagination that he can genuinely make every take different. But I learned a great deal from working with him. I go inside to meet Bilbo, and I take, tall Gandalf, small Bilbo, and I take off my hat and hand it to him, and he carries it away. I don't know how that was done. I don't think I was there. I don't think he What was Hobbiton like? Well, when you saw it in the rolling hills around the town of Cambridge on the North Island of New Zealand, you saw it in Hobbiton. Hobbiton on location was just the exteriors. The holes cut into the countryside had front doors, and they may have opened, but there was nothing behind them. There was a tent for the long-expected party. When you got into the studio, it was different, and briefly, the interior of Bag End was on 2 scales. One was to make Ian Holm playing Bilbo look at home in his own house. It was a human-sized Bag End. The Gandalf, who walked in that room couldn't be me, because I, being human size, wouldn't have looked larger than Ian Holm or Elijah Wood. So my double, who was 7'2", impersonated me from at least from the back. When you see my face in Bag End, because I must look larger than the Hobbit Ho, the Hobbit Ho is smaller, and it's a smaller scale. I have to bend down, and no longer can it be Ian Holm or Elijah Wood playing the Hobbits, because they would look too big for that scale. So it's their scale doubles, smaller actors wearing masks that you would see in the film, but just there to comfort us that the other characters they appear to be. And then the film cuts these two things together. Any favourite moments?
I think the set that I enjoyed most was Edoras, which was the Fortress of the Golden Hall, Theoden's Golden Hall, which was set in the wilds of mountainside in the South Island of New Zealand, quite close to the farm called Erawan, which is nowhere backwards. There's no use me getting into this story because I can't remember. Oh yes, which Samuel Butler, the writer and satirist and philosopher, wrote about. It's a wonderfully empty tract of countryside, and we had to drive about 3 hours to get there before dawn, and to see the dawn come up on this empty valley, in the centre of which was this amazing outcrop, on top of which the set of Edoras had been perched, was unforgettable, and also to see the sun go down at the end of the day, because the whole valley is ringed with very high mountains, some of which have not yet been charted. It's that wild. So we were up there with goats and horses and carts and extras and all the paraphernalia of filming that you never see when you see the film itself, the lights and so on. And it was a very real place and beautiful, beautiful.
We had them done in various parts of our body. I know a Hobbit or two had them put on their ankles. Elijah is in an unnameable mine is just here, and if you come and see Dance of Death, it's on display. And from my viewpoint, upside down, it oddly spells Gucci. When the Fellowship, minus the dwarf, who thinks that tattooing is a life-threatening activity, so it was his double, near a dwarf size than Johnny's actually, who came along as his representative. When we all went into the tattoo parlour in Wellington last week to make permanent our association by having the Elvish word for 9 imprinted on our bodies, it was agreed that we would never tell anybody that this had happened. And here am I in the middle of New York talking about it. That's because Elijah would, I think, inadvertently let it drop, or perhaps it's shown his tattoo to too many people. Well, I just played Prospero in West Yorkshire Playhouse in the United Kingdom, and that's a play which is much more enjoyable to watch than to hear. And I won't be doing well, I just hoped we were going to get through them, but I had great doubts that was going to be possible. Aragorn warns Gandalf to be cautious, and I know there may be something down there, and that we have to be very careful and get through there as quickly as possible. I think he's more concentrating on getting through than what will happen at the other end. And of course, Gandalf the Grey doesn't get through. So I think he's increasing aware that his destiny is going to be to temporarily leave the Fellowship, and they will be on their own, which is why he has that long, wonderful talk with Frodo the night before he disappears. No, I'm not going to talk about Paul over the top. I know, I'm sorry about it, but I don't have any plans to film The Hobbit, although I think Peter Jackson has some sort of control over the rights to it, and I'm sure that he would have had the first chance to do it. And if he did, and if he asked me, yes, I think I would want to be involved. But he may just have had enough. I think after 7 years, I've told Peter I want to get on to something a bit more gory.